I got laid off at my job, and they have the nerve to be emailing me, threatening me. If you don't schedule a meeting with us, then you're you might lose your unemployment benefits. Blah blah. Like we had a meeting, a random meeting, and y'all fired me randomly without notice, without severance, without anything, without additional 2 weeks for me to keep working and figure things out. You didn't give me no warning, no nothing. Now y'all are threatening me because y'all want to meet with me. I just can't. Thank you so much to all of my friends and family that reached out to me and said kind words, because although I know that this had to happen, it is still like a hard time and abrupt and random and unfortunate. So thank you if you have offered me any kind of kind words or support. I really appreciate you.
Been eliminated. Today will be your last day in office. You will be placed on a paid leave, and our talent acquisition team will work with all our hiring managers to make sure your resume is reviewed and considered. Look, I know this is difficult news. Decisions like this are never easy for us to share out as well. But I do want to take a minute and truly appreciate your contributions and the impact you've had here. Thank you for what?
That's not funny. It's not funny to me, but just the way they did it. But hey, listen, the first one we reviewed, it looks like she's not going to get like a paid leave or whatever the case. Sounds like this young lady's company, they're going to give her a severance and all that type of stuff. I think she'll be okay. I don't know what her role is, but they did lay it on her just kind of out of nowhere. Y'all, before we get into the next clip, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually does help out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
Notice what's going on in the world, but things are about to get very, very hard for most Americans. With the United States about to go to war with Iran, our oil supply is essentially going to be blocked, which means prices on everything, not just gas, is going to go up. That, paired along with AI and this whole corporate layoff situation, they are using it as an excuse to let you go. This is the perfect storm for most people around the world. Most people do not have a backup plan if they were to get laid off.
We just had the largest layoffs since 2009 in America.
Mm.
What? If that doesn't scare you where we are as an economy, but also where our future is for our young people, I don't know what you're smoking or where you're at, but you need to pass me some, because I am genuinely concerned about, number one, our economy, but number two, all of the people that are about 10 years younger than me that are 21, maybe in college, they don't have any trajectory on
I say it
getting
all the time.
a well-paying job, and that is not good. So what I would recommend, if you're in that spot, you're nervous about layoffs, number one, in your job, or you're nervous about the future of where your jobs are going to be, you have got to start a side hustle. You have to, like literally yesterday,
Yeah.
you've got to make money that you individually can generate, because then you take the power away from your company. I personally make around $2,000 a month. So regardless of where I work, they can't take that from me. And it gives me security in my job to
Yeah.
know if you lay me off, I'll just go find something else and I can supplement my income in.
He makes a great point, but I don't know if that's really going to be good general advice for the masses. Yeah, get a side hustle, but that's very vague and that's very broad, and is only going to induce more saturation ultimately, which just makes it harder for everybody, right? It's tough. It's about to be a bottleneck, and the future is very uncertain, as well as the corporations now have a lot more leverage than they've ever had. And see, now they can write their own ticket, because before there was much more negotiation power, especially if you were skilled on the worker. It fluctuates. Don't get me wrong, it fluctuates based off of the market, but it was somewhat of a balance. Now it's not going to be a balance, and now they're just going to be able to just post a job. So it's gonna show that there are a lot of jobs, and that's why some of those job reporting numbers are always inflated. It's going to show that there are a lot of jobs, but there's not going to be a lot of hirings. And then what I feel like that's going to do is that's going to give a lot of the corporations the excuse to be able to just say, well, no one, they're going to then try to say that, well, people don't want to work. So that's why we decided to go the AI route or just automate their job completely with robotics. Do you get what I'm saying? Let's say a job really should be paying 80K, but the company decides, nah, man, I want to pay 50K for this job. And then nobody decides to apply for it because they're like, no, we can't be going backwards. This is reverse inflation. You're trying to like pay less than where we really should be getting to. So then nobody decides to take that job. And then that'll give the corporations an out to then be able to say, well, no one wants to work. It's the new generation. The same way they do with layoffs, right? They always come up with an excuse or a reason why they're about to lay a bunch of people off. But we know that they had planned to intend to lay off the people anyway. So now they're going to be able to have that out and ultimately just that option. They could have a person in a position or they could automate or use AI or whatever the case, right? It's going to get kind of scary. So we got to keep our eye on it. What he said was one solution. It's going to, it's really just going to be a free for all.
I can time on short notice and share my invite was rattling and not awesome, and you do not have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. I have a couple of notes to share with you, um, but I'll still be glad to get those notes to make sure I cover things. But I will also follow up with an email, so you don't have to retain everything I'm gonna say. I made the difficult decision to restructure the XD org and as a result reduce the size of the org, and unfortunately you're impacted by this change. So your last working day is today, but the good news is you'll be paid through February 2nd. Those are the most important pieces of information. Your system access as an employee will be turned off at some point today. I'm not sure when exactly. In your Workday and Benefits portal, you'll still have access to until February 2nd as an employee, and then after that, you'll have access to it as an alumni. And then I'm gonna email you the specifics of your severance, benefits, and a few other details that will probably be helpful later when you're ready to go through them. Um, and then on your last day, you'll get your severance documents via DocuSign to sign, and I'll go to your personal email address. I want to pause. I know I just rattled off a whole bunch of really big news. Is there any questions or anything that you want to ask?
Are there any reasons other than just like restructuring? Like, what's the reason for the restructuring?
That's a really good question. It has to do with the company is doing consolidated priorities this year and next year. They
Don't
are
even do it
looking
to yourself.
to so the org, it has nothing to do with performance. It has nothing to do with location and everything to do with the company wanting to do less in tech and do take on less priorities. And as a result, the team is being reduced for that to support that.
Another question I had was around like my remote status. Is that like a factor in this as well?
Mm,
Yeah,
she's
that's a really
remote.
good question. It did, to be perfectly honest, it did count, the remote status in general came up as a potential discussion, but it ended up not being a factor. Well, please don't obviously feel a pressure to do anything today other than take care of yourself.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm so
Take
sorry,
care.
Simone. Well, please again, like take today and take care of yourself. And again, I'm really
Stop
sorry
it.
that
Stop it.
this is happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, that was hard to keep listening to. The take care of yourself is crazy. Saying that 3 times is crazy. And if you see the caption right here, it says point of view. You're single, just bought a house, went in a credit debt to furnish the house. Oh wow. and you get laid off. And she was working remote. And I love that she used the word restructuring, because that's probably exactly what they're doing. That's really the crazy part about it. She was transparent, but she wasn't at the same time. Here's what I mean. Oh, they're restructuring, all right. They're about to restructure everybody back in that office, is what's about to happen. And so they understood that there's going to be a lot of people who aren't with that, especially people who have been remote for a while, probably, most likely. And so that's probably what they are trying to restructure. And they may even be willing to like get rid of most of their people, especially the people who are most used to the remote work, in order to just hire brand new. Again, like I was saying before, at a lower salary, because it could also be some people who were already grandfathered in at a higher salary, and they know they can also leverage AI and automation now. And then so they're going to get you in the office, have you under the microscope a lot more, while at the same time being able to pay you less. Otherwise, it's just like, well, they don't want to work, they quit. So now we we have justification to automate, to use AI, whatever. It's getting cold, man. It's starting to become a real cold game. I know they always said business ain't personal, but it's getting more cutthroat than ever. You know, I really feel bad for this woman, because, man, that's hard, man. You start making certain permanent changes. Just bought a house, you're thinking you have some career stability trajectory, and not all jobs are the same. Not all jobs are easy to replace. You know, I would assume she's probably doing something more technical, maybe even has a senior role, which those can be hard to replace sometimes. And it could take a much longer timeline to find another job, which they mentioned they were going to pay her out to a certain date, but that might not be proportional to the amount of time that it would truly take for her to replace that job. So, man, that sucks, man. It's getting rough out here. So many things uncertain. This is not the environment or the landscape to put self-inflicted wounds on yourself, especially if you're going to decide. It's Here's what I'm going to say, because this is crazy. People are putting more self-inflicted wounds on themselves than they ever have, while at the same time deciding that they're going to be independent and that they're going to do life by themselves. Isn't that crazy? I'm going to take all this on by myself because I'm strong, or whatever the case. But it's like, this is not the time. I would say back in the old days when things were a lot more stable, if people were going to try to like just say, I can handle it all on my own and really stand on that, that would have been the time. As you can see at some of these examples we've been going over, I don't know if this is the time to just be like, nah, I don't need nothing. I don't need nobody. I can handle it on my own. I'm a tank. I can one man army. This Things are very uncertain, and it's really two sides. You want to be on the side like the person that just laid this woman off, where you're capitalizing off of the technology and off all the opportunities, right? Because we're looking at the employee, and I know the guy said, people need to get a side hustle and all this. Yeah, they probably do. And you just really need to get really savvy with all these tools and technologies, and you just need to constantly be pouring into yourself, and you need to stay sharp. You need to keep your blade sharp at all times. This is not the time to take the foot off the gas. If that's what you're into, listen, man, I don't try to convince anybody of anything. I'm going to do what I do because I'm confident in my way. And I know that I'm willing to take responsibility for my outcomes. So I say that you're. I'm gonna just say this: the dogs out here, the people who are willing to really get it out the mud, is that's really the saving grace, especially if you're gonna be single. That's really your stability. Just you being somebody who doesn't stop and like almost has like an insane urge to actually get it, and you're excited about what's happening. Those are going to be the people who thrive moving forward. The people who see all this going on, all this uncertainty, all this chaos, and they're excited about their future because they know that they're capable and they're gonna be able to adapt to everything, and they're gonna keep moving forward and they're gonna keep growing and getting better. If you're not that, then don't put self-inflicted wounds on yourself, and probably advise as well looking to cooperate with another person and possibly do life together. Y'all, we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button, then it shows the points. And since I am a smaller content creator, we actually get more points per hype. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.